In the vast blue sea, as dawn breaks over the water, fishermen begin to prepare for a long day of longline fishing for flounder. A traditional but effective method. On deck, hundreds of shiny hooks are firmly attached to the main line stretching for kilometers. Each hook is baited with small pieces of fresh fish to attract bottom fish that live in deep and cold waters. Each line is gradually lowered into the sea in the rhythmic coordination of the whole team. Each person takes on a position. From the line dropper, the boat operator, to the person recording the coordinates of each fishing line. When the lines touch the cold water layer, the fishermen carefully mark the waiting time. They know that flounder will be attracted by the smell of bait and move slowly towards the hook. After many hours at sea, they begin the process of pulling the line. The sound of the winch echoed in the quiet space. Each heavy piece of rope gradually rose. And in the bright noon light, giant flounders with flat bodies, dark skin and eyes on the same side began to appear, thrashing violently as they were pulled from the water. Each fish weighed from several dozen to hundreds of kilograms, forcing the fishermen to use auxiliary iron hooks to bring them onto the deck. Once the fish were pulled up, the processing began immediately to ensure freshness. Experienced fishermen quickly used sharp scalpels to cut off the heads, open the fish's bellies and remove all the organs. They washed the fish with cold seawater to keep the meat firm, then proceeded to cut each large piece of meat. The thick skin was carefully peeled off, revealing the smooth, pinkish-white meat inside. Some others used specialized knives to divide the fish into standard-sized portions, preparing them for freezing or transferring them to cold storage on board. On the deck, the working atmosphere was urgent but professional. The smell of fresh fish mixed with the sea salt created a distinctive smell of the ocean. When the work was finished, tons of flounder were cleaned and neatly arranged in large ice boxes. The fishermen rested for a moment, looking out to sea where the sun was gradually setting. They knew that this trip was another fruitful day. Each flounder was not only the result of hard work but also a testament to the skills, experience and attachment between people and the sea. Although life at sea was harsh, it was from such fishing sessions that they felt the pride and simple joy of bringing precious products from the sea back to the mainland. After the preliminary processing was completed, the fishermen began to check the entire batch of flounder that had been collected. They classified the fish by size and quality to serve different purposes. Large flounders with thick, bright flesh will be kept intact for sale to high-end restaurants. While smaller ones or those with minor injuries will be cut into fillets and carefully packed in vacuum bags for longer preservation. The engine noise of the cold compartment begins to hum as the freezing system is activated. Each block of fish is placed neatly in the hold. The temperature quickly drops below zero, ensuring that the fish meat retains its natural flavor and characteristic sweetness when it arrives at the dock. Meanwhile, another group on the ship takes the opportunity to clean the deck, pouring seawater to wash away any remaining blood and debris. keeping the deck non-slip and always ensuring hygiene. The veteran fishermen chat while working, sharing their experiences on how to identify fish streams, the best time to drop the line, and how to choose live bait to best attract the cunning and elusive flounder. The ship's captain used a GPS to check the route, drawing on a digital map the successful fishing routes to remember for the next trip. The sky gradually turned to sunset. The last rays of the day shone down on the sparkling sea, reflecting on the nets and fishing lines still wet. As the ship began to turn back to port, the fisherman leaned against the railing, looking back at the batch of flounder that had been neatly stacked in the cold storage, feeling satisfied. For them, each trip was a battle with nature, requiring strength, perseverance and skill, but in return was the pride of bringing back giant fish, proving the resilience and bravery of the sea people. When the ship docked, the flounder was quickly brought down to the wharf, where traders and buyers were waiting. The smell of fresh fish spread throughout the port area, the sound of people talking and laughing, bargaining bustling in the early morning air. The port workers quickly transferred each box of fish into the refrigerated truck to be transported everywhere in time. A portion of the fish is taken to the processing plant, where workers use modern machinery to continue the process of filleting, skinning, packaging and labeling for export. The smooth white flounder pieces will then travel thousands of kilometers, appearing in large supermarkets or on the dining tables of luxury hotels in faraway countries. Few people know that, to have such beautiful and fresh pieces of fish, behind it is the sweat and tireless efforts of fishermen far away at sea. They live and work amidst the waves, accepting the cold and danger to bring precious food to everyone. For them, flounder fishing is not only a livelihood but also a source of pride, a part of a life attached to the vast ocean. After the last batch of flounder was brought to port, the ship became lighter, but on the faces of the fishermen still showed a clear look of fatigue mixed with joy. They sat together, sharing a simple meal of white rice. Braised fish and some salty dishes, with the sound of waves lapping steadily against the ship's side. Some people took a break, others checked their hooks, changed new lines, sharpened their knives to get ready for the next trip. The smell of engine oil mixed with the smell of sea salt and the fishy smell of fish created a unique flavor that only those who lived at sea were familiar with. At the processing plant, each batch of flounder was transferred to a modern production line. Workers in white uniforms, gloves and masks carefully carry out each step. The fish is naturally thawed in a cold environment. Then the bones are removed. The meat is separated into large sheets and then cut into even pieces. Each piece of soft, smooth, milky white flounder is washed many times with clean water and arranged on a stainless steel tray before going through the quick freezing system. Quality control specialists check each batch, ensuring that the fish is not contaminated, has no strange smell and meets export standards. Outside the processing area, refrigerated trucks are waiting to transport products everywhere, from wholesale markets to restaurants, hotels or high-end supermarkets. Meanwhile, in the fishing village, the wives and mothers of fishermen also start a new day. They repair nets, patch life jackets, prepare dry food for the next trip. Children run and play on the sand, occasionally looking out to sea, where their fathers are still drifting in the middle of the ocean, continuing the tradition of the villagers for generations. In the afternoon, when the golden sunlight covers the fishing port, people start cleaning, washing the boats, mending the fishing lines, and neatly arranging the equipment. The rusty hooks are replaced with new ones. The ice boxes are prepared, all towards another journey that awaits. Halibut fishing not only requires strength but also perseverance, understanding of the currents, monsoons, and the biological habits of fish. Each trip out to sea is a gamble with nature, but for fishermen, the sea is not only a place to make a living but also a close friend and companion. They understand the sea, love the sea, and accept all risks to survive with it. When night falls, the lights on the boats shine brightly, reflecting on the water surface, sparkling like stars falling into the sea. The sound of engines, the sound of fishing lines, the sound of waves, and even old songs echo in the night wind, creating a familiar harmony of the fisherman's life. In the midst of that vast ocean, people are still small but resilient. Working hard every day, from firm, sweet flounder, to bring back the source of life and pride of the coastal people the next morning, when the fog still covered the water, the fishermen began a new journey. The sound of the ship's engine broke the silence of the early morning. Each long fishing line was neatly arranged, tightly coiled on the deck, ready to be dropped into the fish-rich seas. They worked with the precision of a machine that was too familiar with the rhythm of the waves and wind. The person standing at the front of the ship dropped the line. The person behind balanced the main line. Another person checked the bait. All took place in perfect coordination, without words but understanding each other in every movement. The calm sea reflected the red dawn, as if witnessing those small people continuing the work of extending the tradition. In the deep water, the flounders hid under the fine sand. They lurked waiting for bait. And that was also the time when the sharp hooks of the fishermen were ready to seize the opportunity. After many hours of waiting, the signal on the fishing line vibrated slightly. The fishermen quickly pulled it up. One by one, flounders were hooked, thrashing violently, causing the water to foam. They shouted to each other, laughter mixed with the sound of the wind. And then the first fish was pulled onto the deck, so heavy that two people had to pull it together. The sunlight shone on the smooth skin of the fish, reflecting a shimmering silver color. The old fisherman used a sharp knife to quickly stab the gills of the fish, letting the blood flow out naturally, a secret to making the fish meat whiter and more fragrant. Then he peeled the skin, cut each piece of meat thick and neatly, and placed it on a wooden board for others to wash with cold sea water. On the boat, the work went on continuously. Everyone was busy but full of energy. Everyone knew that every slice, every small movement affected the quality of the fish meat. A small mistake in the cleaning process could reduce the value of the whole batch. So everything had to be done quickly, neatly and with absolute precision. When the sun was high, the boat was full of flounder. The salty smell of the sea mixed with the fresh smell of fish meat, creating a unique feeling only found on offshore fishing boats. Fishermen poured water to wash the deck, wiped away every trace of blood, stacked their fish in ice buckets, and covered them with a layer of cold salt for preservation. They worked not only with their strength but also with their generational experience, the experience of knowing when to pull the line, when to stop, when the sea was about to get windy, when the sun set. The sea was again brilliant in orange and purple. The boat gently turned its bow towards the mainland. Suntanned faces lit up with joy because of the successful trip. They didn't say much, just looked at each other and smiled, because everyone understood that this hard work not only brought in income but also preserved the traditions of their ancestors. At the end of the day, when the boat docked, the smell of fresh flounder filled the air, signaling a bountiful fishing season. The big, white, thick-fleshed fish were carefully weighed, recorded, and packed in boxes. On the other side of the wharf, the sound of waves still lapped evenly, like a blessing for those who have devoted their whole lives to the sea. Those who conquer the ocean day and night to bring back precious gifts from the deep sea, fatty, sweet-smelling flounder, containing the sweat, effort and pride of fishermen in remote seas when night falls. The fishing port is brightly lit by the lights from dozens of ships anchored close together. The smell of fresh fish, salt, and engine oil blends in the air, making people feel the liveliness of the fishing village. The rumbling sound of generators, the voices of people calling each other, the sound of cartwheels rustling on the wet concrete floor create a familiar but vibrant scene. The crates of flounder are unloaded, each large, heavy, shiny-skinned, flat-bodied fish is placed on the scale, its weight recorded before being shipped. Traders wearing thick coats and gloves carefully check each fish, pressing their fingers lightly on the fish to determine its firmness. Then nodding in satisfaction when they see that the fish is still perfectly fresh. Some batches of fish are sold right at the market, where seafood shop owners, restaurants, and processors come to pick the fish. The largest flounders, which can be nearly a meter long, are prioritized for high-end export orders to Japan. Korea, or Europe, places that favor the special flavor of the white, sweet-smelling flounder meat. Meanwhile, the fillets are processed right at the factory, cut evenly, deboned, divided into beautiful pieces, and then frozen in cold storage. There, workers work in the freezing cold, their breath billowing in smoke. But everyone still focuses meticulously on every detail. Sharp knives glide lightly over each fiber of meat, skillfully separating the skin from the lean part. People also use towels to dry the surface of the fish to prevent the meat from getting wet, keeping it fresh longer. Once finished, the flounder is packed into boxes, labeled with the origin clearly stating the fishing area, the date of preparation, and the name of the vessel. Each ship and each captain has a unique identification code. This not only helps manage production but also shows the pride of each fishing family in their profession. Outside the workshop, the light from the high lamps shines down, reflecting on the wet ground, sparkling like the surface of the sea. A few young fishermen stand on the shore, smoking cigarettes, telling stories about their trips, about the biggest flounder they ever caught, about the sudden storms that made the ship rock in the middle of the ocean. Their voices are low but their eyes light up when they mention the sea. For them, the sea is not just a workplace but also their flesh and blood, their life. They were born by the sea, grew up with the waves, and then returned to the ocean, like an endless cycle of life. In the distance, the water surface reflects the faint moonlight. The gentle sound of waves seems to tell the story of the children of the sea, the people who have written a resilient, arduous but brilliant journey of faith. From the time of casting long fishing lines on the ocean until each flounder is cut, cleaned and brought to shore, bringing the flavor of the ocean to all regions. As the sky gradually brightened, a thin mist drifted over the sea, and the boats prepared to set sail. The fishermen's work seemed to never stop. One trip ended and another began, like the familiar rhythm of their lives. On the deck, long fishing lines were rolled up. Each hook was checked, and bent or rusted hooks were replaced after the previous fishing trip. The bait was carefully prepared, mostly small fish, cut squid, or fresh shrimp to create an attractive smell. The captain checked the GPS, weather forecast, and wind direction, because just a small deviation could put the whole trip at risk. When everything was ready, the boat set off. cutting through the waves and rushing out to sea. The sound of the engine echoed, mixed with the sound of the rushing sea breeze. In the dawn that was gradually dyeing the horizon red. In the distance, flocks of seagulls circled, signaling that the waters ahead were full of fish. The experienced fishermen recognized this as a good sign. They smiled, their eyes shining with hope for a bountiful day. At the right position, the fishing line was lowered, drifting along the deep water, each hook falling carrying the hope of a large flounder. The waiting time was when the fishermen took a break. Some made tea. Some sat and rewinded the line. Some leaned on the railing watching the vast ocean. When the first vibrations transmitted to the fishing line, they knew the important moment had come. One by one, they began to pull the line. Their hands clenched. Their muscles tensed. The blue veins stood out on their tanned arms. The hook was heavy. The line vibrated strongly. The water surface foamed as the giant flounder struggled below. They shouted in unison, coordinated their pulling, little by little bringing the fish up. When its giant body emerged from the water, all could not hide their joy. The sunlight shone on its dark skin, reflecting off it. They quickly inserted the auxiliary hook into the fish's gills, pulled it up onto the deck, then used a sharp scalpel to cut into the gills to drain all the blood. Others carefully dissected the belly, removed the organs, washed it with cold sea water, then cut the meat into large pieces. Each knife stroke was neat and precise, revealing the pinkish-white flesh, lightly scented with the smell of sea salt. They continued to fillet, skin, remove the small bones, then put the fish in the ice box and stacked them neatly. Every movement was done skillfully, quickly and cleanly. In the middle of the deck, seawater mixed with fish blood flowed onto the floor. But no one stopped, because they knew that every minute that passed affected the quality of the fish. When the entire batch of fish had been processed, the ship continued to drop a new line. The cycle of labor continued endlessly. The sun rose high. The sunlight shone brightly on the deck covered with smooth white flounder. And in that moment, all the hard work seemed to disappear. Because in the middle of this vast ocean, each flounder they catch is not only a precious product but also a testament to the strength, resilience and never-ending pride in the hearts of fishermen who cling to the sea. The afternoon gradually fell. The red sun sank below the horizon, covering the sea with a layer of brilliant orange light. The ship gently rocked with the waves. The deck was now full of flounder. Iceboxes were stacked high. The cold air spread throughout the space. The fishermen took the opportunity to clean, wash the deck, pour seawater to wash away all the blood and remaining pieces of meat. They worked in silence, only hearing the sound of water pouring and the sound of waves lapping against the ship. But everyone felt the joy spreading in their hearts. When the work was finished, they sat together on the deck, eating a simple dinner in the middle of the ocean. Only white rice, braised fish and pickled vegetables, but warmer than any feast on land. Laughter echoed in the sea breeze, mixed with stories about previous trips, about the storm in the middle of the ocean, or about the giant flounder weighing more than 100 kilos that they had caught. In the distance, other ships also turned on their lights, creating sparkling dots of light on the night sea.